felt like I had to play a character performance against them. But for the first time, new direction. We should have talk about how it reminds me. Talking to someone who actually understands life change.
And I guess I'm not different for that. Once upon a time, I was always searching for my one true love, for happily ever after. I always have been, but it's been different for me. I don't really remember when it started, middle school maybe? Back then, my friends all seemed to be obsessed with kissing. I had crushes, I fell for boys, plural, at the same time, when everyone else seemed to just pick one. And I never thought about kissing them. I guess that made me feel different. I wanted love. I wanted to hold hands and go to dances. I wanted to be a priority, but I never really wanted that first kiss moment. I guess I was just different. I dated a boy the summer between middle and high school. I met him through my best friend, who I adored, who I may have already been in love with, who came with on our first date to supervise, which I didn't even question. And it's still the best date I ever went on. And 2 weeks in, that friend tells me he's jealous, and they made me choose. And I couldn't because they were both important to me, and that made me feel different. High school was worse. It was all about sex. All day, every day. I still fell for people. I fell in love with my best friend, and I dated his best friend because I don't learn from my mistakes. And I fell in love with him too. We dated for a while. We even kissed, and it was okay, I guess. But I never wanted more. I guess that was different for me too. Eventually, my best friend said he'd been in love with me for a while I was still dating someone else. And I didn't cheat, but I didn't know what to do, how to make this choice. It wasn't like he was single anyway. We fought, we made up, and then it got worse, and eventually we weren't friends anymore. Because I couldn't choose, so he decided to make the choice for me. And I felt wrong for loving them both at the same time, and it made me feel different. The other guy, well, that ended badly too. We broke up because he wanted sex, and I didn't. I wasn't ready, I felt too young, and I'd never really even thought about it. That made me different too. And then my mom just had to know the reason we broke up. She kept asking and asking and asking. So I told her, and she told me I'd have to give it up sometime. I didn't see why. Why was sex so necessary? Why did I have to choose just one person? What was wrong with me that I couldn't just date and fall in love and have sex with one guy and be happy? Maybe I was just broken. Maybe I was the only one like this. Maybe it was wrong to be different. So I stopped talking about me. I hid the part of me that didn't want these things, or that wanted too much. I pretended. For a long time, I didn't date. I was worried they'd want something from me that I wasn't ready for. I didn't want to give my heart to someone just for them to say that wasn't enough, or take it away from somebody else because only one person can have your heart. And that made me feel different too. I took till college to try again. I dated another boy, a boy I thought was nice and sweet and kind. But one night when I said no, he didn't agree. He kept asking and asking for hours, and I couldn't leave because he'd picked me up. So eventually, I just stopped saying no. And I guess I'm not different for that. It took years to open up again, to even think about seeing someone. But when I did, I decided I wouldn't say no this time, that I'd try it again on my own terms. And it was okay. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really get what the fuss was about. Of course, he dropped off the face of the world after that, so I didn't really have a lot of data to work with, and I still felt different. And then I met someone who was like me, a friend who never talked about sex, who didn't want it like everyone else. And they had a word for what that was: asexual. But that wasn't the end of the story, because I didn't think that could be me. I didn't hate sex. I felt something for boys that I didn't for girls. I felt something for lots of boys, often at the same time, and I couldn't ignore that. And I'd had exactly one magical kiss moment, sparks flying, full fairy tale, with a boy I'd been in love with for 4 years before it happened. So I didn't think I could be ace. There were other words I tried. Demisexual, where attraction comes with connection. Gray sexual, where it's sporadic enough you don't identify with it. Or maybe it was just years of Catholic school messing me up. The next boy I dated, we had sex pretty regularly, for about a year. And sometimes it was just okay. Sometimes I even liked it. So I couldn't be ace, right? Though it wasn't something I ever really wanted ahead of time. But eventually, I came to associate sex with affection, just like we're taught our whole lives, and that made me want it sometimes too. So what was I? And then that ever-present question of why I couldn't just choose one boy, one true love. Eventually, I figured it out. After years of looking, I found more terms. Things became more mainstream, and I found the part of the ace community that was like me. And I felt a little more comfortable calling myself asexual, since if it hadn't been pushed on me by media, by boys, by family, by society, I probably wouldn't have ever had sex, since I'd never wanted it just for myself. That made me asexual enough. And the word didn't make my life easier. I'd already come to associate sex with affection, and I couldn't stop that. But it gave me hope that someone else might have a different story next time. And I found I was polyamorous too, since I didn't want to give up anyone, because I had more than one true love. And that was starting to become an okay thing to say, an okay thing to be. And even better, it was just one word you had to say to people instead of whole pages. And really, that's all the labels are to me. That and a way of saying, I'm not wrong. These things aren't why I'm broken. Someone else broke the little parts of me, and I can't ever get them back. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be different. We can learn and accept and educate. We can be open to new experiences, to new versions of happily ever after, and tell everyone it's okay to feel different, that there are others, that it's okay to be like me. The